Okay, hi everyone.
Hi.
Welcome to today's business guest speaker session, where I'm delighted to be joined by Kim Heironymus. I always try and make sure I get that surname right. Relationship Manager of CPA Australia, based out of the Brisbane office. I'd also like to especially welcome all of our students, academics, and staff who are joining us online today from Torrens University Australia. My name is Mustafa Kadir, and I'm the industry consultant here at Torrens University. Before I start, I want to do a bit of housekeeping. Can you please make sure your video and mic are turned off, except for Kim and Hayden? And the reason why we're doing that is because we're recording this session. We're going to be uploading to the Student Hub, so we'd like to make sure that everyone's mics are muted, so we don't get any background noise. Now, today's talk is about personal brand. How important is it to one's success? And why is it considered to be so powerful by many who have experienced some sort of success in their career journey? I mean, I know I found it to be I think it's a necessity, really, of paying attention to your personal brand. You know, and I think personal brand really starts with that first impression. The way you dress, the way you present yourself, the way you talk is so important. We also know that building your professional network to leverage opportunities is important. And one such tool that a lot of people use these days is LinkedIn. In fact, I was reading recently that this career networking site has 303 million active monthly users. That's per month. You've got 300 million that are actively using this network. Imagine that for a second. And I can say, as an active user myself, I can certainly see a huge potential this site has when one is embarking on their career journey. Not only that, but in fact, I probably can't do my job if it wasn't for LinkedIn. That's how important it is. We have invited Kim Heironymus to talk about personal brand and delve into LinkedIn, how to create a profile, how to leverage the many opportunities that this networking site presents. But before I begin, I would like to give you a bit of an intro about our industry guest today. I'm really happy to have Kim along with us today. Now, Kim has been working in the financial services industry for the past 10 years. As a relationship manager for CPA Australia, Kim manages the relationship between the tertiary institutions, employers, and CPA members. Kim also works closely with the CPA Queensland Committee for Women, which is a new initiative for the CPA Queensland members. Prior to CPA Australia, Kim worked for several industry super funds and has studied financial planning, international business, and marketing. Prior to entering the financial services industry, though, Kim held a number of roles with Schneider Electric over a period of 8 years. Without going into more detail, I'd like to now hand over to Kim for the main presentation. Over to you, Kim.
Thanks, Mustafa. Now, hopefully I can share my presentation with you all. It looks like it there. There we go. Actually, I'll just go back and I'll... Nope, that's fine. Okay. Can you see this screen?
Yes, we can. It'll probably be better if you could put it into slideshow.
Oh, okay, because it is in slideshow on here. This is what I'm not sure about. Yep. So if I go share content, screen 1 takes me to, oops, here, and then I go down here.
Yep. There we go. That's better.
That's better?
Fantastic. Thank you.
Okay. Excellent. All right. So, and I'll just turn my camera off. There we go. So thank you for having me today. For those who aren't aware who CPA are, we're a global accounting body. and I'm not here to present on CPA, but Jana Sims, who is my colleague, actually has a session on Thursday for all of you, and that's at 1:30. So Mustafa can provide you with further details on that. So today I'm here to present the power of a personal brand. I'll share with you some information on personal branding and LinkedIn. I must say I am no expert in this field, but over the years have seen the power of a personal brand and how important it is to get it right at the beginning of your career, because it really is essential, especially in this day and age. Okay. There we go. So the practice of people marketing themselves and their careers as brand. This is what we, know personal branding as. Essentially, it's the ongoing process of establishing a prescribed image or an impression in the mind of others about an individual, a group, or an organization. So I want you to think of yourself as your own personal product today, who is just as valuable as a product you see advertised in the day-to-day market. For example, here you can see Coca-Cola. We all know the brand across the globe, and we associate the name with refreshments. So where and how do you showcase your personal brand? Your personal brand is advertised in everything that is related to yourself, and there is an abundance of opportunities to promote or engage with someone about yourself, whether it's in person or through social media channels. So think of the following. How do you present yourself at work, at university, at functions, and to your colleagues, your peers, and managers? What style of communication do you use at work and through your social media? Your work performance and how your team perceive you is also important. So you need to think about, what image are you portraying to your team? Attending function and networking groups can help with strengthening relationships within the job market of which you may wish to work. And your social media is something that's really important. And it's important to have an active LinkedIn account along with considering what and how you interact on your personal social media accounts. So I can't really see the screen, but if you've got a LinkedIn account, it would be great if you could just, put your hands up. I don't know if we can do that here, Mustafa, can we? Oh, yes, there we go. Brooke
Yep, we
has.
certainly
Yep,
can.
Mustafa has. Chris has. Helen. Great. So lots that have LinkedIn accounts, but quite a few that don't. All right. So we will get to that. Go back to here. Sorry. Is that okay now? Can you see that again?
Yep, if you can just minimize the Teams. Yeah, if you can just minimize that screen.
Oh, sorry.
Perfect.
All right. Getting there. Okay. Oh, sorry, I missed that one. So just remember that your strengths and achievements are important to others. So, be proud of what you've achieved and what your strengths are, and make sure you showcase them. You really should be proud of what you've achieved. So take time to prepare. Opportunities can often be when you least expect it. So you always need to be prepared for whatever might be around the corner. And that's thinking about what are your strengths and your achievements? What are you proud of? What are the areas that you would like to improve on or you need to improve on? You need to think about what employers appeal to you and why they appeal to you. And you need to do your research. Research your employers that you're looking at joining and their competitors. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile after today, I really hope that you will set one up because I will guide you through how to do that. It is imperative going forward that you do have a LinkedIn profile because that is your virtual network that you will build on. You need to think about your personal social media channels, and I will go into this a little bit later, but what you're portraying on your social media channels, your Facebook or your Instagram, you might think, well, that's mine, that's private, but you'd be amazed at what people can find these days. So whatever you're putting on there can be found. Always have business cards or contact details which are available for you to distribute. So, if you're put in a situation where, a job opportunity might come up, make sure you've always got that in your handbag or in your wallet, and always consider having a mentor, because that will really help you, through your early of your career. Networking. A lot of us don't feel comfortable networking, especially when you start doing it for the first time. It's not something that you might feel that you're good at, or it might be something that you struggle with a bit. So you might find it challenging, and you may not have the confidence to just go up to someone and start a conversation. So how do you walk into a room where you don't know anyone and you start a conversation with them? My biggest tip on this is to prepare yourself before going to the event. So think of a couple of relevant news articles that you could have up your sleeve that people might be interested in discussing. There's one that's, applies to all of us right now that you could easily start a discussion about. What was the number of cases today? That sort of thing. And then you can get into a conversation that way. Always introduce yourself warmly. Don't be afraid to read someone's name tag and say hello first and be the first one to start that conversation. And if you're looking for a job or a connection, never approach someone with this intention up front. Ask questions about the person you're talking to first. Show some interest in them. Often an opening will come up for you to be able to say subtly that you're interested in their organisation. Also use your pre-prepared relevant news articles, which can also be useful in that situation. So that's just a little bit about networking. Now I'm going to move on to Mustafa's favourite part of the session, which is the power of LinkedIn. So LinkedIn's got some powerful data in it, some tools, some insights that really can help you connect to opportunities that are out there in the market. I think now it's actually up to 675 million members on the platform, but as Mustafa said, I think he said there's over 300 million that are active every month. There's over 30 million companies on there, over 20 million open jobs, over 50,000 skills, and over 90,000 different universities. So your LinkedIn profile is a digital portfolio that's going to represent you and tells your professional story. So it is a professional networking platform. Think of it less as a resume and more as a dynamic digital portfolio that's engaging, it's visual, it highlights your experience and skills to help build your professional presence. Right, so for those that don't have a LinkedIn profile, the first step to setting one up is to make sure you select a LinkedIn profile photo that truly represents you. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to tell your professional community who you are. It can be a professional headshot, but it doesn't have to be. If you take your own photo, just make sure it's high res, has good lighting, and yeah, it's not blurry or anything. LinkedIn actually has, I'm not sure if you knew this, photo filters that you can use, and you can polish up your photo. So you use them by clicking into the pencil in order to edit your photo. You can see there, if you've got a photo, I mean, I come across profiles every day that don't have a photo. But if you have a photo, you're 9 times more to get connection requests and 21 times more to show up in a profile view. So add your industry. Your industry is really important, regardless of what cohort you've come from. CPA obviously is the accounting industry, but you might be from a different cohort within the university. Make sure you add whatever that industry is into your LinkedIn profile, because it's how others will find you and will add you to their professional network. In addition, adding your industry will give you 9 times more profile views, and members with industry information are discovered up to 38 times more in recruiter searches. Or I should just say how you do that. So you click the pencil at the top of your profile where your headshot is and your name is, and you scroll down to edit or add your industry. So hopefully you can see that there. So the next step is to draft a compelling summary. So think of your summary as an elevator pitch, should include who you are, highlight your accomplishments and your aspirations, but keep it short and sweet. You don't need to list all your career accomplishments here because there is an experience section for that. But feel free to highlight your unique talents and how you want to contribute. So by adding a summary of 40 words or more makes your profile more likely to turn up in a future employer's search. So step 4 is your work experience. Experience is your opportunity to tell your professional story and talk about your accomplishments within each of the roles you've had. It's a great way to showcase your experience, and it's suggested to write it in short paragraph form rather than bullet points. So if you've worked at a startup company or a smaller company that isn't as well known, then, give a brief introduction to the company before you detail your experience, as you can see has been done here. It's also great to talk about what you did in your role, but it's even better to showcase the impact that you had. So any results you delivered and change that you may have created. You can also add examples of your work if you like. Rich media is a photo, a video or presentation, or anything else that visually enhances your profile and makes it more dynamic. Help connect people into what you do by adding this to your experience. Keep in mind, it doesn't have to be content you own. For example, if your company has a brand video or company brand assets, you can use them in your profile. And then last but not least, we've got the volunteer experience. So for those of you students that, you may not have worked at this stage, you might still be studying and you actually haven't got any work experience to add in there. If you've volunteered, then absolutely put that in here. It's a great way to round out your professional identity and uniquely tell your story to whoever's viewing your profile. Make sure that you add your volunteer experience by giving a quick 1 to 2 sentence description of what you did for that specific organisation. You may not be aware that almost half of all hiring managers say that they view volunteer experience as equivalent to formal work experience. So it's an important part of your professional identity. It gives the recruiters, I guess, an idea of who you are and what you enjoy to do. Okay. Step 7, add skills and get endorsed. So add here skills that showcase what you're great at. By adding at least 5 or more skills, it can get you up to 17 times more profile views. Professionals also search key skills across LinkedIn, so it's another great way to be found by your network. Remember that you're in full control of your skills and you choose what order they get displayed in and who endorses you for what. Don't be afraid to ask for endorsements. I think it's quite a common thing to do. And, if you're confident that that person, your team manager or whoever was really happy with how you perform, then yeah, don't be afraid to ask for an endorsement. And then, of course, you've got your location, your education, which obviously is important because your students, publications and accomplishments. So I'll go on now to this part. So building thought leadership. So LinkedIn is a place where you can share your insights, your expertise, and your opinions with your professional community. So the first way that you can share your perspective is quick and high touch through status updates, which seems to be the most common way that people work on LinkedIn. The second is your opportunity to explore a topic in more detail through publishing. So what's the difference? Sharing updates is a way for you to quickly share your knowledge, your perspective, and your insight on things that you care about, whereas publishing content is a way for you to explore a topic by writing a long form post. So you can get started by sharing a status update on your homepage. You'll see the share box at the top of when you sign into LinkedIn, as you can see on the screen there. There's a couple of things that can help your status update stand out from the crowd. So you'll see the share box up the top there. You can tag people so that their connections and their followers will see your post. You can also tag companies so that their followers see your post. Here you will see this example here is this person has 1,400 connections or followers, but by doing the above, so tagging someone else in the post, it enabled 14,500 people to see that post rather than the 1,400. So tagging people in a post is really a handy way to get your message out to the broader community. So when there's a few best practices for sharing updates. So share your authentic voice. LinkedIn is a platform where you can have your voice heard by your professional community. So be authentic, stay on brand, and show up consistently. Posting frequently. By sharing frequently, you create more opportunities for you and your content to be discovered. So you might want to, if it's something you're not in the habit of doing, add a reminder to your calendar to post something once a week or every day if you like. Start a conversation. So post something quick and snappy that engages your professional community. So by posing a question, provide your perspective on current events or an article, or give an insider point of view. So the more you're engaging with people with the content you post, the more it will get shared and noticed in the feed. So having that conversation, by asking a question is going to show up more and more. We've already discussed including rich media. This is to increase engagement. So photos, videos will always help your post stand out, and you'll always get more comments and more likes. So create an opportunity for reciprocity. Can't say that word. You can see it there. When posting a status update, think of things you can share that will benefit your professional community. And this also goes the other way. So use statuses that are updated to pose a question or get insights and thoughts from professionals that you care about. So hopefully that all made sense. Now, publishing on LinkedIn. Publishing content is a great way for you to explore topics that matter to you and to share, as discussed before. So remember when you're publishing content that it then becomes part of your profile. It will get shared with your network and it reaches the largest group of professionals. Once you've published content, people can follow you to stay on top of what you say, and publishing content on LinkedIn is a great way to establish thought leadership within a community of professionals who matter to you. So in order to publish content, again, you start on your homepage, and it's similar to the sharing status updates, except you select write an article and you get started from there. Now, it's important if you're out there looking for a job that you make your job search more visible. And you can do this under job seeking preferences and let recruiters know that you're open to opportunities. And I have noticed just recently people are actually putting it on their profile picture, which really stands out when you're looking at different profiles. So the importance of your social media presence. It really is important when you're building your personal brand that you are on social media, especially in this virtual world that we're in at the moment. Your virtual network is everything, and going into the job market, it's really important that you have a social media presence, but that presence is always positive. So stay positive when you are online. Now, if you for example, have completed your CPA or you're going to, you're an ASA, which is an associate member, make sure you include that designation and whatever program details you're studying on your LinkedIn profile, because that will stand out. So I know for those CPAs, they might have their name and then CPA after their name. So it does really stand out. Actively engage and share posts and content which is relevant to your audience. Remember to keep things professional with a consistent tone and voice. So building your network, connect with recruiters, connect with managers, key people which are working in organisations that you're keen to join. Connect with your co-workers, follow organisations who you wish to work for or organisations who are relevant to your industry. For example, if you're studying accounting, then you might want to follow CPA Australia because we update, we provide updates regularly on LinkedIn. Also, you might want to follow some influencers and leaders in your industry, such as CEOs, and you can join different groups, especially those related to the accounting and finance industry, if that's the industry you're working in. Also, it's ensure that if your friends tag you in posts, that you are approving the tag to appear on your channel. So if you're uncomfortable about what you are tagged in, don't be afraid to ask your friends to remove you from that tag, because remember, this is your personal brand. And if they're tagging you in some photo that, was from the weekend that you really don't want people to know about, you have every right to ask for that tag to be removed. So make sure you stay in control of your social media presence and you know what you're being tagged in, I guess. And I'm almost right on time. So feel free to connect with myself on LinkedIn. I've also put Jana Sims up there. Jana is our South Australian relationship manager, and she's obviously the one who's presenting on Thursday to the students. So I will finish that off. I did whiz through that, and there may be some questions. So I will go back to Mustafa, who I think will handle to Hayden.
Yes. If you would just want to stop sharing your screen.
Oh, sorry.
That would be fantastic, because I'm seeing myself, I think, 4 times or 3 times.
Is that better?
I mean, I don't mind looking at myself. Look, fantastic session, Kim. There's some great insights that you shared about LinkedIn, and I can't believe you actually got through all that in half an hour.
I know, neither.
That's impressive. I mean, because that was so rich in content, and you know what? Today gave me a reason why we record these sessions, because I thought that was so valuable. Like if I was a student, I'd be looking at that recording straight after this, as soon as it's up on Student Hub. And I'd be going through the steps one by one, because you practically covered everything that I had in mind. And some of my, I think, key takeaways was, always stay positive. Don't be afraid to ask for endorsements. That's probably a lesson for me, actually, because I'm afraid to ask for endorsement. I'm like, well, if they want to endorse me, they endorse me. But then again, if you don't ask, you don't get.
Absolutely.
So people don't assume that people have seen, have wanted to endorse you, but are not endorsing you. People just don't overlook it. So be authentic, be yourself, and most importantly, be consistent. I mean, at the very least, interact with posts, even if you're not going to post, but at least interact. So again, fantastic insights, Kim. I thoroughly enjoyed that. It is now time for our Q&A session, and I've invited one of our great MPA lecturers, Hayden McDonald, to moderate. In fact, Hayden was involved in organising this session along with Kim, and also Thursday's session with Jana, also with CPA. That session will be about how to become a CPA. I'll post the details soon in the chat box so that you don't miss it. Now, before I hand over to Hayden, I do want to give a bit of an intro about Hayden. I'm really impressed with Hayden, because he's not only a great academic, but he's also heavily experienced. So he's an experienced consultant, lecturer, researcher with very strong acumen, and I can definitely vouch for that. Having accumulated over 10 years of work experience and research in academic and professional roles. Not often do you get someone who's a very great academic and a very great industry sort of connected professional. Hayden has been teaching in the university sector since 2016, and we're very lucky to have him with us. He was previously working as a chartered accountant in various management and systems accounting roles. But we're not going to use that against him today, because we invited you, Kim from CPA. And one of the reasons why we're not going to use that against him is because Hayden is currently working on a very special project with CPA Australia, which is to identify how Australian organisations can implement reconciliation action plans that align cultural and business values. So a special, social project, which is just fantastic. But without going into any more detail, I'd like to now pass to Hayden to moderate the Q&A session. So if for those of you who are joining us today, if you have any questions, please type away in the chat box and we'll endeavour to have them answered. Otherwise, I think Hayden has got some pre-prepared questions of his own, which is really looking forward to ask. Over to you, Hayden.
Thanks, Mustafa and Ken. Mustafa, a correction there. I am actually CPA, so I fly the CPA flag. Wonderful presentation, Kim. A few things there that I found really cool, particularly around that volunteering side of things, and how important that is for your career as well. And ironically, I had a few quick questions pre-prepared, but I reckon most of them you actually answered as you went through. But one important question I think for students is what's the best way for students to reach out to hiring managers or business leaders, and what should their initial message look like?
Yeah, and that is a tough one. And I have spoken to a number of different organisations and people working within departments in those organisations. And, if you apply for a job, they're always happy for you to reach out to them on LinkedIn. But the first thing that they say is don't just send them a connection request. Always introduce yourself. Now, when you do that, so you'll go connect, there is a thing on there that says add note. So you add a short note. It needs to be a short note because you can only, it's word limited. So just say, hi, my name is such and such. I have applied for the role of, or if you haven't applied for a role, just say, little bit about yourself and why you want to connect with them. I think that's the really important thing. Why are you sending that request to them? Just so that they know, and you'd be pleasantly surprised. But if you just send a connection request, they'll ignore you. So always introduce yourself, let them know why you're connecting with them. I just want to introduce myself. I'm studying this and I'm really interested in your organisation, or something short and sweet like that.
Fantastic. Yeah, I liked what you said in your presentation. You said what employers appeal to you and why. And so I think that research side of things, I think what you're talking about there is really understand the purpose of what that message is going out. It's great.
Absolutely.
Can you provide students who are thinking about pursuing a CPA designation with advice on connecting from people from CPA Australia? So who are the best people that they should connect with on LinkedIn, or, how do they go about that if they want to progress through in their careers to CPA? What's the best approach from a social media point of view?
Yeah, a good question. I think, it's probably important to get in touch with your local divisional like your local division. So, for example, if you're in Queensland, get in touch with the Brisbane office, find out, on LinkedIn, you can do a search of CPA Australia, see who works in the Brisbane office, send them a LinkedIn request introducing yourself, and that way then you can start building your networks. Get involved in the different activities that they have. I know that in Queensland we have the Young Professionals Network. There actually is a networking event coming up on the 9th of September that, you can attend, and that's one way to start building your network. So get involved in, whether it's CPA or what other, membership body you might be interested in. Get involved in what activities they've got, and then start your networking, because the more people you'll network with virtually, you can then connect with on LinkedIn, and that provides you with more opportunities going forward. So
fantastic. And so in terms of the events that are available, say if a student connects with someone on the in relation to the young professionals, those events, their information comes through LinkedIn. Is that how that works?
Yeah, it's advertised through LinkedIn. So if you're on LinkedIn, you'll see I was tagged in a post today with the Queensland Young Professionals Network event coming up. So that should show on your feed. So, that's the power of LinkedIn, I think, is that, when you're on there and you're connected, then you're seeing more and you've got more opportunities available to you that you can attend. You don't have to if you don't want, but at least you know about it. If you're free, you might want to go along just for a little while. So yeah, I think, but also there are on the website, but definitely everything is advertised through LinkedIn. It seems to be the platform that's used. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. And so for our students, if they're not yet registered in a CPA program, they can still go along and attend those networking events. Is that how it works?
Yeah, so while it's virtual, a lot of things are free.
Fantastic.
We also have discussion groups. We had a really good one on Friday, which is an employability discussion group. And we had 2 of CPA's recognised employer partners in Queensland. So we had the Department of Education and we had Queensland Rail. And they were just, talking about what they're looking for in graduates, and what they're, what different tips and tricks that students might be able to get going for jobs. So, feel free to join any of those. I know the discussion groups are all free. They're all virtual at the moment. And also, the Young Professionals Network, while it's virtual, I believe is free to attend as well. So, but you do need to register to attend.
Oh, look, I think that's a wonderful opportunity for our students now. And
for sure.
Just a question here from Mustafa is, should students ask questions in others' posts as a way to engage with the industry?
Absolutely. I think the more you're engaging, the more you're starting to build your profile. It shows that you're interested, and it also enables you to put your thoughts and ideas forward. Don't be afraid, to interact within the platform. I know it can seem quite daunting, but I think the more you're engaged and the more you're interacting with different members of the professional community, the more you will stand out, the more opportunities will come your way.
Fantastic. Another great question from Mustafa is, with in terms of students approaching business leaders on LinkedIn, I guess this comes back to what LinkedIn etiquette is, asking for an internship. Is that something that's, acceptable on LinkedIn?
I think if you approached a business leader on LinkedIn and said, "Oh, do you have any internships going?" It's almost like I would feel it's like going to a networking event and just going straight up to someone saying, "Have you got any jobs?" Do you know what I mean? Because that's pretty much like what it is virtually. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. What I would recommend doing is your research. So looking on their website to see if there are any internships, because if there are internships, they will be advertised. So do your research and then connect through and say, "I see that you've got some internships, available. I'm really, really keen." And just really show how enthusiastic you are. But I wouldn't go on and say, "Can I please have an internship and connect with me now?" But you need to use a softer, a more subtle approach, I think. But do your research, absolutely, before you approach those business leaders.
Fantastic. And I certainly don't want to finish on this question, but obviously we've talked about all the things that you should do. What about the things that you shouldn't do? Is there anything that students shouldn't do? Obviously, coming from your comment there about, take a softer approach rather than doing that. What about any other things that you can think of in terms of, the don'ts of LinkedIn?
I think just remember that it's not your Facebook, it's not your Instagram. It is a professional community platform, and so keep it that way. So this is about your future, your career. This is not your social page to say, "I did this, I had this for dinner," or just keep it really professional. And always think about that personal brand. So what do I want people to perceive me as? What do I want people to think of me going forward in my career? You always need to have that in the back of your mind. So just be mindful, even when you're interacting with other people's posts. you don't want to come across rude or offensive. You can always have, if you've got a different idea or you don't agree with something, you can always say that, but be very mindful of how you're doing that. Yeah. Oh, did he?
He actually
okay,
did.
well, Scott Morrison
And he
hasn't
got
sat in.
16,000 likes.
Well, he hasn't sat in on my my presentation yet, has he?
I was just gonna mention to Kim that we do have a health and nutrition faculty here, so yeah, sharing meals
Okay,
might
well,
be a
see if it's relevant. Absolutely. If it's relevant to what you're doing, then share it.
Yeah.
But I'm talking more like, your social, your personal life. But if you're studying health and nutrition and you want to share something in with regards to that, then absolutely do that. If it's within your industry, feel free to share it. But just remember what industry you're interested in going in, and just keep it relevant to that.
No, I love that point, even keeping some kind of boundary between what it is that we do in work and what it is that we do in our personal space, I think is beneficial for sure for ourselves.
Yeah.
And
well, when you go to work, you keep your work life work, and then you've got your personal life is kept personal. So try and treat it the same way, because I guess we're all virtual now in everything we do at the moment. So it can be hard to keep, to remember that there are boundaries, but just try to maintain that.
No, that's great advice. And so just the comment, I mentioned it earlier about the volunteering. I can't remember exactly what you said, something like, 50% of executives check out the volunteering to build a profile of the future employee.
Absolutely.
So in terms of students looking at volunteering, do you have any advice on going about that? I know there's some sites that they can go to find volunteering opportunities, but is it important to keep that volunteering relevant to their role?
No. I think if you showcase, so let's say, for example, you love pets and you want to volunteer at the RSPCA, put that on your profile, because it shows the recruiter what type of person you are. You're willing to give up your weekends to go and help out with these pets and looking after these abandoned animals. I think it really shows, different traits of, what sort of person you are. And it does highlight that you are willing to go above and beyond to make a difference. So volunteering is really, it doesn't have to be relevant. Absolutely not. Obviously, if it is, it's great. But I think any voluntary positions are fantastic to showcase on your profile.
Great. That's fantastic. Well, that's the end of the questions that I sort of had there. I don't think we've seen any more come through from anyone. Mustafa, I'll hand it back to you. But again, thanks. From my perspective, Kim, once again, it's been absolutely incredible to have you here, and to Mustafa, the work that he does. I know he does a huge amount of work at Torrens University, and so the work that you do for our students and the passion that you have is just unreal. So back to you, Mustafa.
Fantastic. Thank you, Hayden. It's a pleasure to be supporting our students, supporting the industry, and more or less connecting people. I'm really passionate about that, and this is why I think LinkedIn. I'm so passionate about LinkedIn, because it's just almost like the perfect online platform to connect professionals. This does sadly bring us to an end for this session. I could listen to this all day. I genuinely mean that. It's been such a valuable session to hear insights about the importance of personal brand, but also how to maximize and capitalize on using LinkedIn. Such a powerful tool. To our audience, I hope you benefited from tuning in and learned something new. I mean, look, I'm an active user and I learned something new. So I'm sure you did too. I hope you enjoyed today's session. To all our students, staff, academics, and everyone else that joined in, thank you so much. You basically inspire us to do what we do, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thanks so much, Mustafa. Thank you, Hayden. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.